Howdy.
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 We are Team Clout. We can go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Jeff Colston. I'm the team leader.
My name is Andrew Glazer, Deputy Team Leader.
Patrick Bauer, Department of Environmental Group.
Amin Shandu. Dylan Jones, Environmental.
Nicole Shannon. Hazel Petska. Martha Vilas. Madison Strasser.
Carla Chunga.
Nana Mashinsky.
And we are going to do a quadruple net value analysis of the Schob Nature Preserve. So, as we've talked about in other groups, Schob Nature Preserve is at Ashburn Avenue in College Station, Texas. It is under the joint jurisdiction of two departments, so the Landscape Architecture and Urban Planning and the Recreation, Park, and Tourism Sciences. And it is an open space with some gondolas, or some pergolas. Not gondolas.
Yeah, no gondolas,
And
mate.
essentially, its outline purpose is to create, maintain, and preserve the management of the property as public parkland and nature conservation area. That's about it. And then, so what we did to the site was there's a book called Urban Design and the Bottom Line, which we read as a class. And basically, it has four types of image systems that create then four types of enduring value. And so really all four of them are present in this site, maybe some less than others, but architecture, green infrastructure, transportation, and water settings then create the four types of value that we're going to discuss today. And so we are going to basically conduct that analysis on the site. And this is a video.
So if you hadn't worked it out, that was the Australian anthem. And it's a bit like the American anthem. Australians can probably sing the first 2 bars of it, and it's righto. You're good to go.
So my name is Martha again, and Madison and I were on the economic development side of this project. So the first thing that we did was look at the market values, taxable market values from the Brazos Valley CAD. We had a slight typo in our subtraction. So the values should read that the adjacent properties surrounding the nature preserve had increases in value of 25 and 29% respectively, with an average increase of 25%. We also saw that the average taxable market value of properties in the zip code of 77840 was around 140,000. So the neighborhood that this preserve is located in does have a somewhat of a greater value, making this park a greater asset to the area. From that, we came up with 4 main added value impacts. That is positively increasing the property value surrounding it. Like we shared in the video, there was an investment of almost $500,000 in this park initially, which has an increased value of almost $1 million over time that we've seen. Increased community engagement activities later on in the sensory and aspects of this program. You'll see the boards and things that are in the park for residents to use, which also leads to increased learning opportunities. And then furthermore, just the development of this park in the East Side District of College Station supports College Station's initiative to develop green space. For one of the oldest areas in College Station, it is really an unexpected asset that we wouldn't find really anywhere else.
So although the creation of the site did not directly create a revenue stream, it still did positively affect and enhance the economic value of both the site and surrounding properties. As the site was developed, more people came to the property, and as more people came to the property, it became more popular, ultimately creating a sense of place and acting as an amenity for the community around it, which positively impacted property value in the surrounding area. We also saw that the creation of the site has the potential and has positively affected educational opportunities, specifically with Texas A&M. A lot of us have already discussed that it's a partnership with specific Texas A&M programs by allowing students to go into the field and get practical experience. And that is something that Texas A&M can use to attract students and increase their enrollment. We did also notice after visiting the site multiple times that it lacks efficient, effective, and consistent management operations. So we concluded that not only would improving the maintenance consistency on the site, it would also increase the appeal, but it would also influence the economic value as well.
So I'm Amanda, and I did about half of the social cultural value. So mainly the park has green space with about 4.04 acres of preserved wooded area, and they offer educational programs that promote environmental, historical, and cultural education to the site's users, mainly for students at Texas A&M, but also for the residents. And there are 2 public use areas with seating and natural shade provided by the pergolas and the trees. And so the park has become a central hub by providing opportunities for nearby residences to exercise, walk, and short distance run. You can't really run that far in the park, but it's still a good place to do that. And it also offers history of the park that tells the story of the process and the person the park is named after, which is Dr. Schob.
Overall, we concluded that the park serves its purposes of education. It has taught many classes it has created many positive uses for the park for its educational purposes and gathering purposes. And we see things such as the sitting spaces for people to reunite and socialize there, and also places such as the 3 with different arrows pointing in different directions also shows us an educational purpose of different how located you are in the world and how that can affect the way you socialize within the park itself. We've seen that the park itself has created a community gathering space for educational purposes to attract new communities, and has the visibility of doing that, but it could also add more lighting for more uses at night. It has increased, we would also like to see more increasing art installations to attract new visitors, to have more focal points and to add more aesthetic to the park. So while it does help with its educational purposes for Texas A&M students, we want to see more increase of the adding nearby residents to be welcomed into the community, into the park as well, to understand the park and also know that its true purpose for its educational purposes. So we'd like to see more events including the community around it.
My name is Yichen. I'm going to talk about our research on environmental aspect. Before the development, this site was fully covered by random grassland and woodland. And after the construction, the woodland was untouched and the grassland was only reduced by 0.3 acres. So for now, the 94% of the whole site was covered by green space, and the other 6% are path, the little plaza, and pavement. And one of their most important design strategies is the usage of native types of plants, which reduce the heat island effect, and also again keep the pre-existing woodland area untouched. And last but not least, the usage of rain garden and the solar sink sensor system was utilized on the site, which as a energy conservation system. The only thing is it might need a little more maintenance. And in our opinion, one of the most important value for the site is their educational significance. It creates a lot of opportunities for LAUP and RPTS departments, and it creates a living classroom. And as you guys all noticed, there are 3 educational signs was present on the site. And last, the site was designated as a certified wildlife habitat.
I'm Dylan. I'll talk about the analysis of the environment as a result of the redevelopment. So there was a reduction in the carbon emissions due to an increase in the green space and preservation of the woodland area. There's a reduction in the precipitation runoff as a result of the deep root system of prairie grasses. The site is a sanctuary for over 40 native plant species and pollinators. The site has a low heat island impact due to its preservation of green space. There's been an improvement in the stormwater management as a result of the rain garden design, and the site is a living classroom used for learning by students to learn about sustainable design, planning, and ecology.
My name is Patrick again. I'll go over the conclusion. While development on sites like this, typically you find that the environmental element of them is reduced. Schob Park is very different from that. The site was redeveloped in order to highlight and preserve the environment further. And increase of green space and preservation of woodlands was conducted to help preserve the earth, as well as highlight different aspects of it. And then increase of conservation and management design practices was used on the site to reduce cost of running the site, such as irrigation. You reduce the amount of cost you spend on water because it's at certain times of the day, it's not going off rather than having a set time. And then also resolving help the site reduce the heat island impact and precipitation runoff. And then an increase in educational opportunities in the environment has enabled researchers to conduct additional experiences in the field, which has allowed them to possibly improve on their practices and develop better practices so that they can use on the site later, as well as other areas. But however, while improvements have been made to the site, still further things can be done, such as more innovative landscaping, just because it feels like since 2013, that's when the rain garden was done, not a whole lot has done since. And if you were to do continuous stuff, you would continually see improvements in the site. As well as if they continue doing research, it could lead to a more interactive site, as well as highlighting different elements, different environmental elements of the site that currently aren't highlighted.
So I'm Paige, and Nicole and I both worked on the sensory aspect of the analysis. So in addition to the day that our class went and visited the park, Nicole and I went on March 27th, and it was a lot sunnier and better weather, so we were able to really experience the sensory values of the park and take pictures and videos and conduct our research. So for the site aspect of the park, so there's a lot to look at. There's signs and trees and landscaping and pergola and lighting. So there's a lot to look at, but we came to the conclusion that it's pleasant, but there's nothing to draw you in. There's nothing that really sticks out, and it serves as an attraction to the park, which we've talked a little bit about before. So that's one thing that we would recommend that would make it better, would be to have some sort of feature, some art installation, or something that makes it stand out from other parks in College Station and really draw people in, that people can come to visit. And then for the smells of the park, there's really nothing that stands out. You can go smell the flowers, but you have to get really close. So overall, it's there's no bad smells, which I think is the most that you can ask for in a park. So really the only improvements that could be made would maybe be more flowers, but overall the smell aspect of the park is doing well.
And for taste, the park offers different sitting areas and picnic tables for people to eat, but it doesn't provide any food vendors or sources on site. So moving on to touch. There are a lot of different texture packs incorporated into the park, and it's a place where people can contact with the nature. However, it does not have any interactive features for people to experience. And finally, sound. And the noise pollution on the site is relatively low, and you can barely hear any traffic noises while you're at the park. And it's quiet enough where you can hear the wildlife.
So, in conclusion, we'd just like to make some recommendations for how the Schob Nature Preserve can continue to sustain its value and also enhance it moving forward, by keeping in mind some of the main tenets of Quadruple Net Value Analysis. So, beginning with economic value, maintaining the landscaping. The site is obviously important for making it aesthetically appealing and also a desirable property that can help its economic value. And also for those who are responsible for the site, being aware of how College Station is changing. As we know, it's rapidly developing and always growing, and so being mindful of what land uses are going on in the surrounding area and also how planning and zoning ordinances are changing, that can help make sure that this property is being maximized to its economic value. Secondly, social and cultural value. It is a community asset, and so ensuring that the community wants and needs from that property, and trying to make sure that they feel invited and welcome to that space. That can be done by increasing the number of events at the site. As we mentioned previously the other day, the elementary school in the neighborhood doesn't utilize the space, which is a shame because it is a great living environment in the classroom for students here at A&M, so we'd love to see it being activated by other students who maybe aren't quite in college yet, but can learn about what there is regarding planning, landscape architecture, ecology, and with that, expanding those who come to the site within A&M. So not only landscape architecture urban planning students or RPTS students, but other colleges also utilizing this space for what it is. Moving on to environmental value, again, keeping it landscaped and clean is obviously important to showing what all is on the site. We also think that increased educational signage on the property will help educate those who come visit what services are going on and what environmental value there is with how the site is designed and laid out. And also, there's water elements on the property that you can't see initially when you get there. We think that it'd be a great benefit to find a way to access and really highlight those water elements when you go to the site to increase the diversity of environments and systems at Schob Nature Preserve. And lastly, sensory value. Again, landscape maintenance is important for the visual aesthetics, but also just increasing the variety of plants can make it more inviting, a more vibrant space, and also including more interactive activities. So bringing the community out, again, neighboring elementary school kids, is making it a more vibrant, lively place. You can see more picnics, more cookouts. These really things to enhance your overall sensory experience of Schob Nature Preserve. And so lastly, we should make some final comments wrapping up our presentation. It's pretty clear that quadruple net value analysis is a very complex and comprehensive process, but it's clear that by trying to follow all the guidelines and all the boxes involved with it, that benefits can be accrued. Furthermore, it can also be a great reference point for the ongoing development process. So if your ideation, creation, implementation, development, it can be a great resource to come back to and really make sure that what you're doing is in alignment with these four ways of assessing value in your development, so that you're making sure that the land is being used to its highest and best value. And lastly, we believe that even though Show Nature Preserve may not be the perfect place, it certainly has a lot of benefits and has great value. Their recommendations, we think that can continue to increase its value. With that, we will take any questions you all have.
Ryan.
On the economic portion, y'all mentioned that I guess the taxable property went up like 70% from like 2010 to 2019. And it was like for 77840. So was that for all of College Station, or was that just for?
Yeah, sorry. So we had a little typo with the subtraction, so it's like the opposite. It's 21 and 29, but those are just for the adjacent properties. The median value was just for I think it was 2015. Was that median value or land value?
So you guys have all these recommendations to improve upon this nature preserve, but do you think anything that they did is successful, or is just like the park isn't achieving what, or the reserve isn't achieving what they meant for it to achieve, in your opinion, or do you think it just needs to be really improved upon to achieve what they were trying to do?
Yeah, we were trying to say that it was unsuccessful. Obviously, it's a great place. I mean, through our videos that we've all shown, I think it's really evoked kind of this sense of awe, at least in my experience it has. But I think it's a great site, and it's been successful. We're just trying to think of ways going forward, what are improvements? Because obviously, I mean, very few elements are perfect, and so not saying it wasn't successful, but there's always room for improvement.
Any other questions? Okay, put your hands together for the team.